Mm-hmm.
So hello and welcome to the Limitless You Talk podcast with me, Katie. And today I am delighted to be joined by Amanda and Stevie. So we've got Amanda, who is Mrs. Brain Trainer, and Stevie, who is from Primal Balance. But we do have a very, very special guest. So for those who are watching on YouTube, we'll get to see that we have a new addition who's joined, which is the first time ever, which I'm very excited about. So thank you all for joining today. But I wanted to you've both got really different perspectives, but again, you're married and things like that, so it's a good opportunity to all come together and have a chat about development, about self-worth, body, mind, life, and just kind of put the world to right a bit about it and give some inspiration and messages. I think probably a good way of putting it. But before we get started, just, a bit about yourselves individually, but also together as a unit, because you've got so much experience and everything as both as individuals, but together it must provide some interesting conversations at the same time.
Yeah, you want to go first?
Let me go first. So, obviously, my name's Stevie Way. I run a business called Primal Balance, and I just want to, through this business and obviously the mindset that I've attained, so I bring more people aware of how powerful their mind, their body, and their breath is. These were the three primary tools that we were given before there was phones, before there was cars, before there was anything at all. Our mind, our body, and our breath, the most powerful tools that we have. And I just wanted to allow people to become more aware of these tools and when you can have them in alignment, how powerful that you can become. The mind is the most powerful tool, but the breath is definitely the most important, because the breath will align the body and the mind and get it working in synchronization. So just using that sort of philosophy to unlock people's minds and rid their trauma, rid their tension, enable them to manage stress, emotional regulation skills, and just live a life and building a strong body, finding your breath, and obviously a calm mindset.
Love that. Love that. That's one half of the power team.
So I am Amanda, and I suppose what I help people to do mostly is to rewire their brain to think in a better way, which then in turns help them feel better, which then affects their behaviours, their actions, and that then goes out into the world and comes back as the results. I think what I do really well, and I do it well because I went through it, come from experience, is I had all the limitations. I didn't have confidence. I had every negative belief system. And through falling in love with this work 19 years ago, I'm literally, the definition of what you can achieve when you start to work with your brain. So I kind of took all my hardships, all my lessons, all my kind of stuff, and I now package that into, I guess, a signature workshop where I am giving people a roadmap, an A to Z plan filled with tools, mixture of Stevie and I stuff, mind and body, to update the systems, to think for yourself again, to build confidence, to be yourself. Stevie talks a lot about we're really just trying to show people that you can just be yourself. But
that's all right.
Aye.
Mm-hmm.
But you do need to do the kind of inner work, and I feel like as a couple thing, that's how that became together, because we were both on that path, trying to be ourselves, working ourselves, and then we kind of get brought together, and then we kind of now give that to other people.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And I was thinking there was a couple of things, like Stephen, when you said, about the times before we had phones, before we listened to podcasts, before we actually spoke to one another, or openly spoke without the stigma. And at the same time, how you, Amanda, having those limiting beliefs, completely limited, feeling worthless, feeling, and as a woman, feeling not good enough as a woman, and all these different things. Like, there's so many points to it, and I think there's always room for learning. And when I was thinking about how we could kind of focus this conversation, I wanted to let you guys teach me and everyone listening of the importance of, as you say, doing the inner work for helping to train our minds, to help our bodies, and to help our life. Like, how important is it for us to do that?
Well, I mean, if you don't do it, your future and your present will be a direct replica of your past. And the problem with that is that your past is not even your stuff. It's irrelevant, it's outdated, it's your conditioning, it's your bullying when you were 10, it's your ex's comments, it's your childhood environment, and your life could have completely changed. So you might be in a good position, you might have found the right person, you might have changed so much, you might be the most talented superstar on planet Earth, but if you don't update the limiting beliefs from your default settings of being a young person and whatever you've seen, then that'll go with you to the grave. And to me, that's a massive misjustice to myself, because when you work on yourself, like, you set yourself free and you break cycles, generational cycles, so you do not pass it on down to your own children. People say to me, especially parents, Amanda, how do you not mess your children up or whatever? And I say, go and fix yourself.
Well,
you need to heal yourself, because children are doing what they're watching their parents do. And so we took it upon ourselves to break that cycle, because we don't want River, Saul, Tegan to have to deal with your stuff, you know what I mean? So
I can relate to that. I think a lot of stress and anxiety of having parents running their own business, when they had, like my mum and dad, when they had me, they'd only had the business for just under 2 years and struggling to have a child. And then here comes along Katie. So, no money, that, oh my God, is this business going to work? Their funeral did it, is this going to happen? And I do believe that the struggles through that in turn sort of came with me. And it's only since going into therapy and me being like, right, I'm going to take it upon myself to sort myself out and learn that a lot of what I was going through was actually coming from that previous generation. And it's really opened my eyes to, like, oh my God, I did not realise that sort of thing. There's is it the Barclays advert that they've got out just now? And actually the cast in the advert are kids, like 7-year-old children. And it's making the message about how we start knowing things at 7 years old and start to come aware in our minds and things. And I thought that was a really good play on it, of spreading that message that you need to look after yourself before or after you look after others. It's incredible. And coming on to, like, your breath within Turks, I'm really curious about this breath bit now. Is like, how could I use that to enhance that with my mind?
So obviously your breath is the most important tool that we have. We can't go without it for any more than a few minutes. It's the first thing we do when we're born. It's the last thing we do before we die. So the way I see it is, why not get in control of it when we're here? And first and foremost, if you concentrate on belly breathing, it's going to relax you. It's going to make you more grounded. You're going to bring the breath down into the lower part of the lids of the lungs. Most people are breathing up here in the chest area. This is a question I like to ask at the start of events or classes, or just a new environment. Like, how do you breathe? Are you aware of how you breathe?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm thinking about it now, the way that you're saying that. No.
Yeah, so most people they'll say in and out, and I'm like, that's fine, in and out, definitely, but Like, are you breathing through your nose? Are you breathing through your mouth? Are you breathing into your chest? Are you breathing into your stomach? So there's a wee question for you.
I would say, I would automatically say my chest. But that's just because, like, I get tight-chested. That means if I was feeling anxious.
Yeah. Right, so that's probably a reason why you get like tight-chested, because you're only using this part. A short, shallow
Okay.
deep into here. I'm creating anxiety, I'm creating panic attacks.
Yeah.
I breathe into my belly, through my nose and into my belly first.
Okay.
So imagine there's a balloon on your abdominal area. When you breathe in, fill that balloon. So the belly will rise when you breathe in, and the belly will fall when you breathe out. Inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly falls. You'll feel a massive difference from breathing through your mouth and into your chest only. It's short, shallow breaths. If we're breathing into here, most of the time, most people will be living in a fight or flight. But if I breathe into my belly, I'm coming down into that relaxed, rest and digest. I'm closer to the ground, then I'm coming out of my head into my body. I'm more grounded, I'm more relaxed, I'm more aware, and I'm more present in the room. And that's what I was going to say is, when you bring awareness to your breath, focus on belly breathing, you automatically become more relaxed. But every time you focus on your breath, you come to the present moment. So you can't be anywhere else if you're concentrating on that breath coming in and going out. The flow of the breath will keep you in the present moment. And if you start to slow your breath down, you start to automatically slow your mind down. So slowing the thoughts down, slow your actions down, slow your reactions down. Everything starts to slow down. It doesn't mean life slows down, but you're going to come into a state, come out your head, into your body, into a state where it feels like everything's a bit slower. But if I'm
get a chance to actually catch those limit beliefs. And
yeah.
But if I'm up here, I'm breathing like everything's coming thick and fast. Everything's just so fast. If you slow things down by coming in, out your head into your belly and belly breathe.
So does that then have an impact, like, on how you sleep? How you're, like when people say, "Oh, I need to switch off." It is becoming more present. It is becoming more right. I'm thinking of the words like like calm.
100%.
Yeah.
The more you can be in the present moment and focused on the breath and relaxed, then you'll be in the present moment when it comes to 10 o'clock at night, when it's ready for bed. But but if it's 10 o'clock at night and your mind's still racing about this, that, the next thing, you're not going to go to sleep. But the more the more you bring awareness to the breath, the more you become aware of the present moment, and the more you're going to live in the present moment. So when it's time to exercise, you'll be breathing for exercise. You'll be there. When it's time to go to bed, you'll be breathing for relaxation, ready to go to bed, or whatever area you're in. So the more you're present with the breath, the more you're present in the moment, and then you'll be present in every single moment for the rest of your life. So you'll be more regular. You're going to be more regulated for whatever sport, hobby, activity, sleep, wake time. You'll be more regulated in each moment, each area.
And does that also have a positive impact on? So if say that I was sitting with a family and it was quite a difficult arranging their loved one's funeral, and I felt very stressed by it, by taking that time to be like, right, focus the balloon in my stomach, that's actually going to help my stress management, as we spoke about before starting recording.
100%. The more relaxed you are, the more you're going to be able to absorb information, the more you're going to be able to handle each and every situation.
You'll know what to say. You won't say silly things because you're not reacting out of fight or flight. You're actually, you've regulated your nervous system and you're being your true self.
And you're clearer, I suppose. You do have a sense of clearness in a way. And, because of that, does that then allow, like, a better level of self-care, a contribution towards self-worth, self-development, but like awareness?
Awareness is a key thing. That's
number one.
That's the one thing that we're lacking. I'm speaking a lot more about becoming more spiritual and stuff like that. It's a word that I never thought I would even say in my lifetime. But for me, being more spiritual is being more aware, more self-awareness. And that's what it's all about, just having more self-awareness. When you're more self-aware, you'll speak to yourself better, you will think better about yourself, you will love yourself in the right manner, in the right way, to not tolerate, obviously, unhealthy ways of living. It's awareness, it's the key thing that we're missing right now.
And those people, like when we're saying awareness, is like, because I don't know whether you do have a phase, you know, like you get those types of people like, oh, why are you dealing with all that crap? Like, what, you know,
Aye.
you know, like the kind of the skepticals, the kind
You're
of
just unaware of their own power.
So,
Yeah.
like they say, like why that breathwork doesn't work. What some of my mates that have trained me, they will say stuff about it. They'll have a wee digs and stuff like that. But the breath is so powerful that it actually keeps us alive. It feeds every cell, every organ, every muscle, our brain. It keeps us alive. But what else can it do? And for me, I'm starting to obviously realise what it can do. It raises your vibration. It raises your consciousness.
Gets you in and out of panic.
Aye,
Yeah.
it increases your lung capacity. It works your cardiovascular system.
Your lymph, everything.
Everything. Heart rate, lowers your heart rate, lowers your blood pressure.
What is wrong with you?
All these
baby?
amazing things. But I'm starting to find this for myself with it getting deeper into the practice. It takes you into a different headspace altogether. Different dimension, if you could say.
And you're so much more fulfilled in your happiness levels, your positivity, your glass half full, you know.
A state you hear the athletes talk about the flow state. And that's where I'm at.
Wow.
A state of flow in life where nothing's bothering me too much. It's like it's just like just getting on there and like life. It doesn't make your life any easier. It just means that you can handle the difficulties, the challenges with more easy.
So when you say the flow state, how can, I'm just curious now, especially for myself as well, I suppose, but how can we get to the flow state? How can, you know, like anyone that's in an infancy of a journey or starting out or wants to make a change, if you like, how can we get there?
There's like so many layers to it. I would say, like, do something you're passionate about and that you love first and foremost. Have the right people around you. Be self-aware enough to be doing daily practices to keep your mind clean, to keep the stress out of the body. I just think it's working on the self, but like breathwork could be the short answer, because if you had a schedule in place where you were practicing, so you went into the cold water, like Stevie does the cold water, then the breath, then the yoga, then the meditation every single day. So there actually isn't any secret to getting into the flow state. It's just you do the work, if you know what I mean. You keep your stress center as soothed as you can, so you don't chase all your negative thoughts. You are aware because you're doing the breathing, which helps you to catch them. So you stop that in its track, and then you proceed ahead with every area of your life being in balance.
Yeah, it's definitely about balance. So here's a thing for you.
River wants to talk.
You want a chance to talk, River? You'll get a chance in a minute, okay? River's like, when's it my turn?
We've been taught to fix the outside world, fix the inside world, the outside world. Sorry, to feel better. Get the new car, get the trainers, whatever it is. But also, and I like to train, I like to work out my body and stuff like that, and keep myself in shape and fit and stuff. But it's all been directed to the outside, the body. Let's get big muscles, let's look good. But inside the mind, the stress management skills are terrible. The anxiety's through the roof, maybe depressed. And as soon as something happens in their life, the training goes, everything goes. Right? But when you work on the inner self, you become more regulated as a human being. You're able to manage your stress. And that's the number one thing. Would you agree that 95 to 99% of our habits, bad habits, good habits, mostly bad habits, are created or connected to our stress?
Yeah, because I read about it actually a few weeks ago now, Witting the Devil by Napoleon Hill,
Oh yeah.
where he spoke about it.
Mhm.
And it was like the devil in your foot, and I thought, oh, that's definitely me. And it has been worse at times, like absolutely. Because we can control how stressed we get, don't we, really, when we think about it.
Aye, so
depending on what you focus on, you can obviously.
True.
So bad habits are created around about stress. When you can manage your stress and become emotionally regulated by yourself without any vices, any drink, drugs, whatever it is, you can do it for yourself, for your mind, your body, and especially your breath. Then you start to bring awareness to these bad habits you have created around about stress. And then when you start to be able to regulate yourself for yourself, by yourself, you start to realise, oh, I don't need that pint anymore. I don't need that tablet anymore, because it helps me, obviously, pain in the body, stress management, emotional regulation. So you start to realise and recognise that you can do it for yourself. Just a bit of hard work. Every day you walk out that door, life is going to challenge you. So I'm a big believer, and I'm really big on my morning routine. Setting my day up. So I have a morning routine aligned with my day ahead. And then obviously you have your day should be aligned with your goals, with your ambitions, with your dreams, with your passion. But setting your day up with a morning routine that aligns with the activity that you're going to be doing that day.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that one.
I think like when you're regulated, right? So flow state to me means you're completely in the zone, you're in the moment, you are focused. So for me, when I feel like that most is when I've just come back from delivering a workshop where I don't think about anything. My world doesn't exist in that because I'm just in love with what I'm doing. I'm passionate. I'm regulated because I've done my breath work before I went in. So that keeps me focused. And I'm flow state. And one of the tools that I particularly love to achieve all of that as well is gratitude. Gratitude will change your life. Gratitude will keep you in flow state, because no matter what life comes at you, if you practice that, you'll bounce back quicker. You won't come out of regulation easily. Do you know what I mean? So it's honestly like all of those layers.
I started journaling July 24, and I was like, oh, you know, the usual, you're kind of like, skeptical a little bit. Best thing I've ever done, and I'm always grateful for one thing every night. I do it before bed. But sometimes I'm grateful for something that could have been even from a few years ago. And I think it's purely because it's that right time, maybe right place, right time, where I then can be like, right, it's out now. And I feel that it helps in my sleep. I'm not the best sleeper, but it helps in my sleep, you know, in my morning routine, and that's my kind of bedtime routine. And it's amazing how you're not going out to do something different or something unusual to find a bit of kind of clarity within your mind and in your body. And it's like I'm a big thing now of I actually like the people that like kind of want to be like, oh, you know, can I make a joke about it and things like that? 'Cause I think you're probably the one person that would totally benefit from this more than anything. I mean, especially in the funeral industry, people think I'm off my head. You know, they just think that you got up and got on with it, but you can't possibly. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's amazing. It's incredible.
River's never like this, by the way. So
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
It's before she's tired, she fights to sleep, So
I think some of us do that. But and when you're like, for what you both do, because I'd written down like that, because I know you, Stevie, have like started with kids and things like that. That's something that you brought on. And I was thinking about obviously with River and having River. Like everything that you guys have done and everything that you've learned, all your experience and things like that, as people have said to you, how do you teach that with your kids or keep away from your kids and things like that? Both of you are doing what you're doing, so River has, you know, great stages as she grows up. But how important is it for a parent to do the work, even when, you know, as children grow? I don't have any kids, so I'm trying to word that appropriately here, but, you know, for parents, you know, dealing with all the stresses and everything like that, to look after themselves within that, but also be a good role model for their kids as, you know, their kids grow up.
I just think like you owe it to yourself, but you really owe it to your kids. She's
She's like,
I think like they are being programmed from Rivers teaching me so much at such a young age that just she copies her dad when he lifts his legs on the mat. Like she's being influenced right now already. And if we can model what we would like to give her, then she doesn't need to get into her 40s and have 40 years of stuff to unpack. So the running joke with our friends is like, who's River going to be? She's actually got 2 regulated parents. Like, I never had any. I never had regulated parents.
Yeah.
So having 2 parents who don't pass their stuff down and no harm to parents who do that. It's just, you know, they never broke the cycle, and that's all right as well. Like, you need to give grace for that, but our job is to break cycles and at least give River a chance to be her own self, like without all the baggage and our limitations.
Do you think she'll be at an advantage because of that?
100%, because our environment, apart from right now, is very calm. It's a very safe, calm, relaxing. There's never raised voices in the house. There's always meditation on the telly.
Yeah. River, you're going to get your turn, I promise. I promise.
So that leads into her. She's a calm, chilled, relaxed baby. She feels safe. So like she's not screaming when you leave the room. She's sleeping the whole night through. We're already seeing the benefits. Sleeping for 12, 13 hours. We need to wake her up some mornings, you know, because she feels safe. That's basically. But if our mum and dads are stressed out and the house is shouty and, you know what I mean, up to high door, that is going to come out in you later on in life.
That's it. What age is River just now?
She's 19 weeks.
And for being so young, she's got I love how you used that word regulated, but she's got a level of regulated even I, probably better than me. You know what I mean? But it is amazing that we are a product of our environment that we put ourselves in, who we surround ourselves with, what we're influenced by, what we read, what we watch, what we listen to. That's, you know, we can be a product of our own success. That's amazing.
I was very mindful of this even in the womb. So I was trying my best never to trigger fight or flight because I knew I could influence her through the umbilical cord. I took it that serious.
Wow.
I think I had 3 meltdowns in 9 months. That's good.
That is very good. From what I hear, that is very good.
But so like going back to that, even though like I've got 2 kids, Amanda in my life, 2 dogs, I'm still the most important person in my life. And not in a selfish way, but a selfless way, because if I'm looking after myself and I'm staying emotionally regulated and able to manage my stress levels, manage my life, then I can be there to help be that rocky support for everybody in my life, my family, my kids, everybody. But if I'm not looking after myself, as in stress management, emotional regulation, and flying off the handle and drinking when I feel stressed, then who's looking after my family and my kids? Because it's not me. And at the same time, I'm teaching. If I'm looking after myself, I'm teaching my kids to look after themselves.
We're very big into like, we don't find that bad if we're both, like, we find that it's a crucial part that we are both working on ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, it's no selfish at all.
And a lot of people wouldn't understand. I mean, I do understand that. I say that I've got to be selfish to be selfless. And that's purely because I always say, well, if you treat yourself the way that you treat others, you would be so much further ahead in different aspects of life, or be more successful and things like that. And again, like, you've shared the important messages. Like, if you don't, who you need to be, like, with your other hats on, or the other plates that you've got to spin, you know, you'll never be in something like, oh, but listen to that, you know, you're so selfish, but it's not.
No.
It's the bigger picture.
Saying that you're so selfish is an excuse just not to look after yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most people, especially in this environment, this society, if they were healthy, they would have nothing to talk about.
Fair point, actually. Yeah.
Honest.
Perfect world, wouldn't it? Really?
No, exactly. No, I mean, they would have nothing to talk about.
That's not the world I want to be in.
Well, see, when I say that, they would have something to talk about because they would have something that was keeping them healthy. They would have something to talk about, but they feel like, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that because, like, in their minds, that they would have nothing to talk about, but they would have.
Because that's all they know in a sense, but actually would open them up to a whole other world.
Sit in cafe. I've sat in a cafe on my own, having a coffee, and just sort of not judging, but just observing and just listening to people coming in. Oh, this and with this appointment, and you're like, oh my God, like do something about it yourself. You know what I mean? Stop relying on the doctors and pharmaceutical companies. Let's do it for yourself. And about, like, obviously the inner child stuff. I've said to Amanda a few times, I'm healing my inner child by obviously when River's old enough to, I'll do the same. I'm not doing it now, but when my wee boy is 10-year-old, by teaching him and guiding him as best I can, I'm actually healing my inner child through that process. And I'll give him a bit more responsibility, and I will be tough when I need to be tough on him. I want to have fun with him, of course, but there needs to be discipline there. And the more responsibility I can give him each year he gets a wee bit older, or when I feel like he can handle it and he needs it, I know for a fact when he's 16-year-old and it's time to go out there and get a job and to go into life and smash it, thrive, I know that I've done my job. I know that I've got nothing to be like to question or to feel bad about, because I've done my best by giving him responsibility and at the same time looking after myself and teaching him, showing him to look after himself.
That's empowering. That is empowering, and we should all be doing that. We should all be doing that if you're a parent with kids. And if you both could give like a piece of advice or share something to help me or help someone else on a journey of that, of making ourselves priority and doing that inner work, what would it be?
Mine would have to be, don't wait till something bad happens to make changes. Because that happened to me. I lost my son when I was 30. I had a daughter at 16 as well, and she was the first big life change, but I didn't really make the changes because I was I was a lost wee girl. I was a child myself at the time. I didn't have the information really to make the changes but when my child passed, I was so ripped out of my belief systems, my programs, my limitations, my habits, my bad habits, my past, that the saddest part of the story would have to be I could have always been speaking a wee bit nicer to myself. I could have always been using my breath. I could have always been doing things to look after myself. But it took a tragedy for me to make the changes. So it's like, you can actually change right now. You can start talking to yourself better right now. You can start leaving that bad relationship right now. Because if you don't, life will throw something at you to make you change. And it's too expensive, in my opinion. So I would say, for me, it would be don't wait. Make the changes before the diagnosis. Make the changes before the death, the heart condition, the alcohol use, do you know what I mean? Suicide, whatever. And I think, obviously, as much as tragedy is sad, it also can pivot you back onto the right path. So embrace it and take the lessons and use it to change your life.
That's inspirational. Thank you very much for sharing that. Such a personal journey, but yeah, very empowering, very inspirational. What about you, Stevie?
So look at society, you know.
Oh.
Look at parents, right? And I'm not judging, I want to help people, of course, right? But most parents are stressed out, burnt out, tired, using vices or some pharmaceutical drug to get themselves through their day, or drinking at the end of the day just to relax, and in their eyes are relieved their stress, but they're no really, they're suppressing it. So keep working on yourself. When two people come together, a man and a woman come together, I always say this to clients, like, maybe just for talking's sake, the man plays football, the woman does dancing. They both, most of the time, they both give all that up to raise a family. But I know it's busy and it's hectic, but at least give yourself at least 1 hour per week to still do what you love to do. It's the thing that made you you, the thing that attracted your partner to you, that made you yourself. So why would you give that up? And then if you're emotionally regulating, you're still doing at least a wee bit of something that you love doing, you're going to give your kids, when you have kids, a better quality for you. But most people nowadays, they're stressed out, they're tired, they've got no time, they're not giving any time for themselves. So what sort of qualities are they giving their kids? And it's not their fault either, because we're having to work 2 jobs and both parents working, overworked. So you've got to realise how the time that you're spending with your kids, and how your mood and your attitude towards the kids, is it good quality or is it bad quality? But if you're emotionally regulated and you continue to work on yourself, even if it is 1 hour a week, then you're going to give the best vibration, the best quality that you can to your kids.
Because you'll be happier.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's huge. And before I turn to River for mine and River's conversation, desperate for a turn, I always finish up the podcast even asking the same question. So I'm going to ask you both separately. So what would you say your superpowers are?
Oh, I've got loads.
Right, get naming them. Let's go. I'm desperate to hear it.
Right, so authenticity. I'll go into any room.
Yeah.
I don't care who's in it. I'm able to just be myself. I suppose both our superpowers is we are just being ourselves when and that is saying, this is who I am. This is me, my problems, my past, my mistakes, my qualities, my body, my job, my parents, this is who I am, and I'm not going to reject any of me. And that is powerful stuff, because when you're authentic and you love yourself and you like yourself, that's the main thing that matters here. And when you're that type of machine, nobody messes with you. You will ask easily for what you want. You will speak up and speak your truth. So I would say authenticity, confidence is my superpower.
Love that. Love that. You said it with such confidence. Love that. Love that.
I never had any, by the way. This isn't like I'm still not the finished article, but I've came a long way. But and it comes from, here's the tip, how you speak to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So don't wait till something bad happens to speak nicer to yourself. Don't suppress any part of yourself or any room that you walk into, because it will come out in another way. It'll usually be much uglier. And it's very effort to pretend to be all these different things anyway. Another one I would say is I am a master at discipline with my thinking. Like, I catch them all. I don't let any slip through. I just find it unproductive to speak negatively or focus or dwell on. Like, I just know, obviously I know my brain so well, because I've studied myself so deeply, that I understand the mind. Like, that is an area that I could say I've mastered. I'm not saying I've mastered all the other areas, but when it comes to my thoughts, and that and it's all comes back to your thoughts. So if you can't get your thoughts right, you can't have the confidence, the mindset, the success, in a sense. So when you can correct the thoughts, i.e. I mean, it's quite easy. Step 1 is stop putting critical ones in. Step 2 is put better ones in. And obviously, that takes time because the mind is very convincing, and I
Interesting.
think
Yeah.
70,000 thoughts a day or something. But if it's regulated, you're more aware. Therefore, you know, and I could give a million tools on how to do it. And if you just stuck to doing that, your whole life could change.
Love that. Love that. What about you,
I'll leave
Stevie?
you with 3.
No, the reason why I asked that question is because I catch a lot of people out and have to think about it, like think deeper. But it's a question that it's getting the true value out, you know, your true authentic self, who you are, your own truth, you're sitting or you're speaking in your own power by doing it. And that's the whole reason of asking that, because it just kind of like, you know, leaves everybody with, and me selfishly, with some like motivation and inspiration of thinking of your own. So yeah, no, I absolutely love that. What about you, Stevie?
So I think every person on this planet's got one main superpower, right? Amanda's is confidence. I think it's confidence is our main superpower. But the more you work on yourself, you start to unlock more and more. I believe that you become limitless in the mind and the body. For me, I was an angry young man. I was angry in a sense. I never had my dad to sort of help me toe the line, discipline me and stuff. My stepdad was there, but it's not the same sort of relationship. So I was angry, but I've found peace of mind. And I think being calm and relaxed is my main superpower. So I've came full circle for that. And I'm able to create a space, an environment for other people to just feel calm, relaxed, and just be their true self. You know what I mean? I think my true self coming full circle is calmness. Everybody says that you're so calm and you're so present, and your awareness. I'm just aware in the present moment and calm. I think that is my superpower.
I love that, because there'll be a lot of people saying, "Oh, calm." No, but that's just proving again that both of you, the definition of the inner work, the hard work, and actually being like, you know what, I value myself so much that I am going to do it, because the benefits out of that, you know, the other side. And then you've got River as that next generation. So it all ties in and fits. It's just sometimes being logical about it and actually being like, do you know what, I'm going to take a step and I'm going to actually do it.
And I think people probably struggle with that question because of their belief system, like where I come from, being confident to speak and own your qualities and say what's good about you. It's not cool when you come from the scheme and you know you get a battering for speaking well of yourself.
It's not popular, that's for sure.
But actually, we need to change that because that's not productive. You know what I mean? So, we need to know that it's okay. You're not saying you're better. You're not saying, you know, who do you think you are? That's why people don't own it. But it's actually, that's old, past, limited way of thinking and being, eh?
Yeah.
So I think for River and my daughter and my stepson, like I'm gonna absolutely say what mine is with confidence, because why would I shy away from that? Because I want them to be able to do that.
I love that. And like, taking away from both of you, but River, star of the show, absolute star of the show.
Oh, sorry, she's at her eyes are shutting here.
There you go. Typical timing. Typical timing.
Try to fight the sleep.
There we go. There we go. We've got a smile. There we go. But I just want to thank you both for, you know, sharing a conversation with me, sharing some inspiration and some motivation, and re-spreading the message about we need to look after ourselves more than ever, especially in the world that we live in now, and we should be. We're all capable of doing it. It's just we have that choice of deciding to do it. So thank you very much for joining me for this conversation. It's been great.
Cheers, Katie.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no one's coming to save us. It's a responsibility we need to embrace.
And belly breathing.
Belly breathing. I'm going to practice that after this, I can assure you.
You'll see a difference for getting to sleep and stuff.